When a magnet attracts an object, that object is displaced due to the magnetic force. In places like factories, ports, garbage depots, large objects are shifted from place to place. For this purpose, cranes with magnets are used. Work is done by magnetic force. This shows that magnetism is a kind of energy. For different machineries to pick up, for different heavy objects to lift, magnets are used. They are in very big size. So that is one of the energy, right? Magnetic is a kind of energy. Magnetism is a kind of energy. There are 5 different characteristics of magnet. The first characteristic is a magnet always settles in a north-south direction. If you hold a magnet, you tie it to the rod, you tie a string and tuck it to the rod and you just release it, you just leave it for some time. You will see that the north pole of the magnet gets attracted towards the north pole of the earth. The south pole of the magnet gets attracted to the south pole of the earth. Second property is the magnetic force is concentrated at the two ends or poles of the magnet. If you take a magnet and you just take some iron fillings, throw it down on the floor and see that whether which part of the magnet the iron fillings are getting attracted. You will see that the magnet gets attracted or the iron fillings get attracted towards the two sides or the two poles of the magnet, not at the center of the magnet. That is, the magnetic force is concentrated to the two ends of the poles of a magnet. What are the two ends of the poles? What are the two different poles of magnet? North pole and the south pole. The third characteristic, if a magnet is divided into two parts, two independent magnets are formed. If you take a magnet, you break the magnet into two different parts, you will see that the two magnets are formed with independent poles. They will form new south pole, they will form new north pole, okay? It means that the two poles of a magnet cannot be separated from each other. You cannot remove a pole from any magnet. The poles are there for each and every magnet. If you break down the magnet, the new poles will be formed. The next characteristic is a magnetic material acquires magnetism when placed near a magnet. This magnetism is called induced magnetism. Any object, any substance which gets attracted towards magnet, for example iron, for example nickel or cobalt, if you hold it closer to the magnet, it will get attracted towards the magnet. This is called as the induced magnetism. Next one is, there is a repulsion between like poles of a magnet, while there is attraction between the opposite poles. You will see that when the two magnetic poles, the two different poles come together, north and the south get attracted, whereas north and north or south and south will not get attracted. They will repel from each other. They will try to go far from each other. These were the 5 different characteristics of the magnet. Let's learn now electromagnet. For preparation of electromagnet, all we need is an iron nail of about 10 cm long and a 1 meter long insulated copper wire, a battery cell, pins or other magnetic objects. Wind the copper wire around the nail as shown in the figure. You can see the figure on the textbook page number 108. Join both the ends of the wire to the cell. Now take the pin near the head of the nail. What do you see? When you do such experiment, you will observe that the nail get attracted towards the pin. Why is it so? When the battery is attached to the nail with a copper wire, insulated copper wire, wind on it, okay? So that time the charge travels from the battery to the nail. So at that time the nail behaves like a magnet, and therefore once it is magnet, a magnetic object get attracted towards iron, so that gets attracted towards the pin. What are the different places where magnets are used? Magnets are used for the scanning of body, for the human body scanning or for any kind of animal body scanning, for medicinal purpose, for medical treatments magnets are used. In mobile phones also magnets are used. Then for any kind of ATM machine, for the money to be swapped with the ATM card, that time magnets are used. Magnets are used in motherboards of the computers or any kind of machineries. Magnets are used in that. Magnets are also used in doorbells. Magnets are used to lift up heavy objects and so on. Let us now discuss how is magnetism destroyed. Magnetism gets destroyed when a magnet is heated, thrown, knocked about or broken into pieces. Therefore, it is important to store magnet carefully. A piece of soft iron is placed in the box in which a magnet is kept. The bar of soft or pure iron protects a magnet. Therefore, such a bar is called as magnet keeper. You can see in the picture on textbook page number 110. One horseshoe magnet is shown. An example of a picture of horseshoe magnet is shown. What is horseshoe magnet? Which magnet looks like U shape. Okay, so that U shape magnet is called as a horseshoe magnet. So, for a magnet to be preserved, for a magnet to maintain its magnetism property, we have to store its quality or we have to store its magnetism into it. What can be done? We should not place the magnet into the fire. We should not heat it. We should not throw the magnet from one place to another. We should not knock it or not even break it down into several pieces. What can be done to store it for a longer duration? All we need to do is we have to just take one iron plate, and that plate we have to attract it. We have to just keep it closed, tight to the poles of the magnet. Now in U-shaped magnet, in a horseshoe magnet, it becomes easier to keep it closer near the two poles. Because why? Because the two poles are in the same path. Okay, so we have to just take a plate of iron and we have to just keep it closer to the magnet so that the property, the magnetism effect which is in the magnet present, that remains for a longer duration. It can be maintained for longer duration. This is how a magnet can be preserved. Thank you.